Hey everybody, this is my 2003 E85 Z4. It's the first production year of this car, and I just wanted to, since it's up for auction, it has a very heavy list of modifications and retrofits on it. I just want to let everybody know why that is. It wasn't built to be a prop car from Fast and the Furious. Most of these are just upgrades to the original. The car was, if you're not familiar with these cars were built at the end of the E36 time frame in the E46 time frame for BMW, and with the Bengal era. So there's some quirks in them that had to be corrected. So to give you an idea of what has been upgraded in this thing and why. So first off, the steering column. If you notice on the auction, it says that the steering was completely replaced. They had a problem. That's a TSB that's listed on the auction and almost was a recall, where the steering sticks at high speed, and that was completely replaced, I believe, in 2010. The paperwork's in the owner's manual that we provided with the car. Second of all, the second most major thing that has gone, well, that was a major shortcoming of the car, was the suspension. The car's pretty low, so I can't show you the struts up under there. But if you notice, they're much lower profile than the stock, maybe by about a half an inch. So I'll pop the hood and show you. I went with upgraded the suspension because the stock struts were way undersized for these cars, and they used to bottom out, and that resulted in the springs breaking in a lot of them. So if you're looking at these cars, I would not buy anything with a stock suspension on them. These are Coney Struts with adjustability right here at the top of the towers. And that allows you, like if you're going to drive this thing for the weekend and you just want to drive it around on the streets, you can soften it up. If you want to go really fast, you can harden up the suspension. You have to remove the rear wheels to do that. But Coney Struts, I-box springs to correct that shortcoming of the car when it came new from the factory. Another thing to note on the suspension side if you notice, the wheels are almost flush. They're as far out as they can go. There's a set of Ecs Tuning Spacers, front and rear. I sized them out so that those tires wouldn't stick out. But if you look right down in there, there's those black strips. Those are ECS Tuning with replacement lug nuts that are sized appropriately by ECS Tuning, so they're safe. Just to give it a better look and more aggressive stance. And those were put in to replace that. One other thing that was a huge shortcoming in these cars was the stock seats. If you look up the Z4 seats on eBay, you'll find thousands of them because everybody wanted these seats instead. These are the Mini-vader M seats. They were pretty expensive, up around 10 grand for to add them on into the existing Z4. But these are the seats out of the M Roadster. They're like 8-way adjustable electric seats with this guy, which is the sport seat add-on. And now if you can see it under there, I also added the Euro spec first aid boxes, so you can put things up under the seats and organize it that way. While I'm down here, let me show you. This is also retrofitted with all LED bulbs interior, just because the originals were terrible. So everything up there and the overhead, everything, it glows a nice LED look at night. Looks pretty amazing. So in addition to that, and I'll continue my walk around, you notice the paint is in excellent shape. Very little swirls in it, some scratches here and there. I haven't had a chance to do a full paint correction on this year, but almost every year when I pull it out of the garage, it would get a full paint correction. While I'm back here at the trunk, the car has been retrofitted with a clear lens Euro spec third taillight, and also clear lens side marker lights. Minor things, but you had this big orange thing right here, big orange look right there, and it looked terrible. And they'll pass the inspection. That has orange bulb inside it, so it does glow orange. And this is a red taillight LED, so that's fine. You get to have a nice Nürburgring sticker. Shit, that increases the horsepower by 50, you know. But brought that back from Germany. Inside the trunk, we have, because the glove boxes are so small in these things, they sell this as an accessory. I've purchased just about every accessory you can get for this car. It's nice, you can put your owner's manual back here, sunglasses, whatever else you need, you know. You can basically, you know, carry everything back there and then still carry 2 suitcases in the trunk. I also added this all-weather mat, so when you're hauling groceries or whatever, or you open it up in a rainstorm, you can just clean that thing out pretty easily. You notice the plate lights have been swapped over for LED as well. This car does have 2 mufflers on it, so the second muffler has been deleted, and this is a custom Magnum cross pipe, stainless steel X pipe. Muffler's cut off, 2 sleeves are put on. This X pipe like hits and it makes it gurgle real nicely if you like that sound. If you don't like the sound of it, then I will provide the OEM muffler, and it should take all of 15 minutes to put back on. Stock taillights still. There's a lot of people retrofit these things with the Euro spec, but I think it looks just fine with the stock on there. Once again, check out that tire profile. And while we're at this level, let me show you these rims. I was going to replace the rims, but these are really cool looking OEM Bbs wheels. They usually come painted silver. These are still silver. I just coated them with a peel coat, like a, you know, they call it dipping. You know, they're like Plastidip on there. It's been on there for a couple years. It's pretty durable. All you have to do is hit it with some Griot's quick detail or something like that. Cleans them right up. They clean up nicely. And added benefit, if you want to go back to silver, you spray it with the dip remover or WD-40 and pressure wash them, and they'll be right back to silver. Or you scratch them up and you just re-dip them. So it's always been a good way to, you know, for this car, because it's low profile tires and everything. So it's been in good shape. One other thing to talk about are the modifications of this thing. In addition to the M seats that were added, because the originals were terrible, added the M multifunction steering wheel, tri-stitching, oversized wheel. To give you an idea, I actually have the original wheel sitting right here. You can have if you want it, but if you look, the original wheel versus the M1, it's way thicker, easier to handle, better centering, all that good stuff. In addition to that, M pedals were added, the dead pedal covers, and that's actually the full M throttle. So you can pull it out and they fit perfectly out of the, bought it brand new from BMW, and that's actually it gives it a little better pedal feel. The original is crap, so that's the actual one out of the M series. In addition to that, right up under there's a clutch stop to shorten the clutch throw from Ecs Tuning, I believe. Bavarian Autosport. And the reason why that's there, it's to match the short shift kit. So the linkage in these things, I don't know why. I think the flat seats combined with the shifting, they put a clutch delay valve in the car. It's a sports car, right? A roadster. They put a clutch delay valve in, so if you dump the clutch, it's slowed. You couldn't stall the thing. So clutch delay valve was removed. It's Zeckhausen Racing makes it out of New Jersey, makes a modification to get rid of that in most of these 3 Series and the Z's. So that was replaced. A UUC Motorworks short shift kit was put in, and to give you an idea of what that looks like, see how short that throw is? So super short throw combined with this nice BMW OEM shift knob. I don't know what it was out of, but it was ordered from BMW. And also, these things did have a little bit of throttle response issues, so I put in a sprint booster that all that does is magnify, like if you step on the gas, it just magnifies the signal that goes to the computer. So that can be removed. If you just leave it on green, it doesn't really do anything. If you do it to red, it ups the throttle response. It did really help out a lot. You know, I'm not tracking. I never tracked this thing. My wife drove it most of the time in the summertime. You know, but we didn't put very many miles. We probably only put like 30,000 miles on the course since 2007. So it just makes it for a better driving car. To give you an idea, if you're looking at these things, the stock ones, the suspension with all those issues I discussed in the steering column, you would look down at the radio and look back up and you'd be in the next lane over. So it was all those modifications were really important. The other thing I skipped over when we were back here is I also replaced with the dine-in airbox. It's supposed to be cold air intake. It has an option you can actually, pipe in direct, from the grill, cold air, but just give it a little better sound and give it a little better throttle response and, under deep throttling. These cars came with this nice little weird sound generator on the back of the intake that goes in through the firewall, and there's a couple of foam things in there. I took one of them out, but you can take them all out, and it makes the throttle super loud, right, interior, because it goes right through the firewall. So that being said, if you take a look, we have almost no dings on the car that I can think of. I say almost because who knows, right? Anything's possible. It's been garaged, 100% garage kept for since 2007, since I've owned it. I'm only the third owner. It was a leased vehicle out of Pittsburgh. Have all the paperwork on that, and it was sold to someone in West Virginia, an older couple that I purchased it from their broker, a broker selling it for them. And the car was barely driven by those people. They wanted something bigger. They were older and couldn't get in the car very well, apparently. So it's basically that's what's happened to it. If there's any more questions on what else has been done to the car, also these were retrofitted on. If these cars a lot of them didn't come stock with this air diffuser, and if you drive this car with the top down above 70 miles an hour, you want that thing. So I had to retrofit those covers and this whole thing on there. It's a must-have, and it also adds, if you drive this thing for work, it adds a nice little jacket holder here that you can hang up your jacket behind the seat with a coat hanger, kind of nice. It also does have this big storage compartment in the center that's kind of like a safe. It locks when you lock the vehicle, and it disables this little lock mechanism. So it's pretty damn cool feature of the car. To give you an idea of what the car sounds like a cold start, let me do this. Oh, silly me there. So that was it. That wasn't too bright. I let the clutch out while I still had it in gear. Slid forward a little bit, but we're giving an idea what it sounds like with that muffler delete. It gives it a little bit of a growl. Gives you a little bit more. It does get a little bit more throttle response out of the thing while you're, taking off. One other thing to show you before we call this, the car has also been coated, which means you can buy, if you're a BMW fan, you can buy a couple, there's one called Carly, a bunch of them, where you can recode what the car does. So give you an example. It's kind of silly, but when you hit this, it gives the European flashers versus the American flashers, and you can code in all the things that BMW shuts off for North America. One of the things that's pretty ridiculous is this coded back in this car is that hit the lock, hold down the button again, and the windows roll down, and the convertible top goes up, which is super nice if you're walking to and from your car, right? So it's really nice to be able to have that. Same goes for rolling it down. You can go the other way by just pulling that and going the other way. So there we go. I just was waiting, too impatient. So there's a bunch of things coded into the car to turn things back on like that, and you know, like I said, turning off that that interior lock when you have the convertible down. That's not able, so that someone can't reach in your car, unlock, and then and basically drive away with your car, or jump in it. So trunk also does the same thing. Trunk does not respond to that lock interior. So in case if you leave the top down when you run into a store or something like that, then you're not going to have those issues. So I hope that's a good overview for you guys. I know reading about these cars, a lot of them are really ragged out. I researched these things for years, or for, you know, before I bought them, because I love them. I think they're a great car. I hate to sell it, but I have 4 cars, and I live in Washington D.C. And as you can see, here's my garage. Right, I have to have a rental garage. It's been, or you know, I've been paying for years, but it's time for this guy to go find a new home. It is, like I said, this thing hasn't been babied. It's been, you know, the paint's been taken care of. It's been, you know, kept inside for most of its life. It's retrofitted with all the things you need to make it, you know, a fun driving car. If you drive a stock one versus this one, you would never buy a stock one. They are, I can't warn everybody enough. BMW really screwed up with these cars, because I think it was in that era where they're trying to beat, you know, catch up with Lexus and be the #1, you know, luxury car brand, and they made a roadster that was not really a BMW. But after many modifications, updates, campaigns, it's a full blown, you know, roadster that like puts a huge smile on your face when you drive it. Hopefully, if you have any questions, you can respond to the auction, or you can just ping me on YouTube if you see this video, you know, or however you want to do it. But you know, oh, one last thing I forgot to mention. I just realized. Oh, blacked out kidney grills. Those are from Bavarian Autosport as well. Those are the stock ones were silver and ugly, so had to have them blacked out to match everything else. So, oh, the convertible top. I should have showed you more of it when it was up. It's in perfect condition. It's not faded at all, because it's been treated with rag top, which I'll probably put in the coating on that before it goes out the door, because it's not waterproof, or it's waterproof, but it's just not. It's like a UV sealant waterproofer. So if, like I said, any more questions, just give me a holler. Hope you like the car. Happy bidding.